Hey, everybody, it's Dr. C, and I got a big announcement. I'm running for president of 2028. That's right, you heard it here first. President for 2028, Dr. C. But not really.
Be strong.
Hey, everybody, welcome back for another episode with Dr. C. And yes, I did say I'm running for president, but no, not really. I'm not running for president, but I do want to share the platform that I think is really important for all of us as the citizens of this country. And even if you're not a citizen in this country, I think this platform is important for you as well. And without further ado, we're going to get straight to it. So let's go ahead to our next slide. All right, of course. Welcome to another episode from where I sit with Dr. C. Welcome to the show. And like I said, we're going to get straight into it because I think that these issues that I have presented for you this afternoon are really important. And yes, I definitely would like to hear from you. I want to see some of your comments. I definitely would like for you to share this episode with others because we want to see their and hear their comments as well. Because we need to take back our democracy, and once we do that, this democracy of ours has to be changed. We have to make some major changes to it. And we're going to talk about a lot of those changes here in this afternoon's presentation. Now, before we get to any of that, I know that you guys are, if you're paying attention, if you're like me, you're paying attention to what's happening around the country. I know what you're feeling, and I know your pain. I know that what is happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota, is a tragedy. ICE has murdered two U.S. citizens with no consequences, and it's horrible. It's terrible. The latest murder was a nurse who serves U.S. veterans. I'm a U.S. veteran, and they're just indiscriminately just going out there and killing whoever they want, and they are not being held accountable. None of these people are being arrested. These ICE agents are nothing more than Trump's private Gestapo army. And their main concern is to go out to blue states and blue cities and terrorize the American people. They're trying to terrorize us into fear that we won't stop what they're really trying to do, which is to get rid of democracy and change this whole government of ours into a dictatorship where Trump is going to be president for the rest of his life, which, by the way, he doesn't have, as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't have much time left anyway. But that's the plan, right? And of course, the other problem with this plan is that we can see it before our very eyes. Trump, I don't even want to call him president anymore because he's not a president. He's not a real leader. He's just a bombastic idiot, just embarrassing himself and us on the world stage. He is in cognitive decline. If you've been watching his speeches and in his events where he is the center of attention, that has not changed. He always wants to be the center of attention. But the man is clearly in cognitive decline. His health is failing. You can see that as well. And a lot of doctors who, of course, they haven't diagnosed him, but I think that it's safe to say that he probably only got less than 4 months to live. He's not going to last very long. Okay. And I know for a fact that if he does pass away, it is only going to get worse. It ain't going to get better. It's going to get worse. And the reason why I believe it's going to get worse because Donald Trump is an incompetent buffoon. And then JD Vance will become president. And JD Vance has no soul. That man does not have a soul. He does not have a moral compass. All he cares about is being in power, being close to power. The guy is a dog. He's a dog. And if Trump does pass away, which I do believe it is going to happen, it's going to happen soon. JD Vance needs to be impeached along with the whole damn regime. Let's just be clear. That whole regime needs to go. I believe that they stole the election in 2024. And we just need to prove it. And we need to make this whole regime illegitimate because they are. Okay. Just to let you know. So it is time for a change to a more perfect union. And like I said, we're going to share this platform with you with this presentation. And I encourage you to share this with others. Once this presentation gets up on YouTube, definitely comment. I want to hear what you have to say about the platform, what you have to say about the issues, and definitely share this with others. Here's the other thing that is really important about today's broadcast. We don't have much time before the democracy is completely gone, which is the reason why I'm sharing these issues with you right now. And we need to share these same issues with those who do have aspirations for being the next president of the United States in 2028. So, without further ado, let's share those issues with you. All right, go. So, and of course, I've been talking about this since I've been on the air with you guys, going into my second year. I've been a whole year doing this. We absolutely, positively have to stop voting for Republicans. Please stop it. Stop voting for Republicans. Republicans do not care about the people. They don't even care about their own constituents, the constituents that repeatedly vote for these clowns. They don't even care about them. The Republican Party and those who run as Republicans care about two things: remaining in power and doing whatever they can for the rich, for the billionaire class, right? For the oligarchy. They could care less about everyday Americans. And we absolutely have to stop voting for them. We have to stop voting for them. Look, just to let you know, and the reason why this is up here, the Republican Party in the House and in the Senate do have the power to impeach Donald Trump. They have the numbers to do so. Do they have the conviction to do so? Absolutely not. And the reason why they're not going to do it is because they are afraid of Trump, and they are especially afraid of Trump voters. So, who are Trump voters? Triple Trumpers, those who voted for Trump in 2016, 2020, and 2024. Well, the single most important factor of those who are triple Trumpers, who voted for Trump 3 times, who claim to be MAGA, typically are nothing more than a bunch of white supremacists. Yes, you heard me say it. But that's exactly what they are. That is the factor that best describes somebody who voted for Trump 3 times. And after all of what is happening with the country, and by the way, the country is in decline. It's in decline right now. And these same people, the triple Trumpers, these white supremacists, are continuing to support the buffoon in chief. They are. And these voters, these MAGA people who are going to go down with the ship, because the ship is going down, by the way, who are going to go down with the ship, absolutely care about one thing, and that is white supremacy and maintaining their white privilege. For those of you who have voted Republican, maybe once, maybe twice, and you consider yourself a reasonable person or a logical person, you need to stop voting for Republicans, because Republicans do not care about your own best self-interest. Period. They don't care. Stop voting for them. I don't know how I can put it any clearer than that. Stop voting for Republicans. All right, so now we're going to get to the real nitty gritty of the platform. And the first one up, get rid of the Electoral College. The Electoral College was brought about. One of the main reasons why the Electoral College was brought about when the country was young, when the country had to own only the 13 states, right? And it was mostly rural, is that they used the Electoral College to give equal standing for those who lived in the rural areas of states versus those who lived in major urban areas like Philadelphia, New York, etc. Well, guess what? The whole country, all 50 states, for the most part, are full of people. We do not need the Electoral College to give equal standing to each state. It's already happening because we have well over 350 million people living in the country, and we have probably about 150 million people who are of voting age and then can vote. Okay? Get rid of the Electoral College. It has outlived its usefulness. Case in point, also, and this is the other important reason why the Electoral College needs to go, is because if we got rid of the Electoral College, the Republican Party, these MAGA idiots who are cowards and refuse to stand up to Trump, will lose power. They will. They will straight up lose power. And it is, by the way, the Republican Party on the national stage that are trying to hold on to the Electoral College. And the reason why is because, really, to be quite honest with you, it's the only way that they can win, especially if somebody is running for president. Excuse me. Think about it this way. What was the percentage of the vote that Donald Trump got in 2020 or even in 2016? We're not even going to talk about 2024 because I believe he stole the election. He rigged the election for himself to win. He had Elon Musk help him do it, right? He only got about 35% of the vote. So how the heck is he winning in 2016 with about 35% of the vote? It's the use of the Electoral College. Okay. He lost in 2020, but he still claims he won. It was rigged against him. And the Electoral College could have been used to rig the election in his favor. We need to get rid of the Electoral College. That way, it forces those who are running for office of president to go out and see all the people in every state of this union. That means every state of this union becomes important, not just the swing states. Aren't you sick and tired of your candidates only going to the swing states and lying to them? I'm being facetious here, by the way. No, I mean, we want them to come to every state to let us know what they want to do for the country so that we can see them face to face and determine if they are slime balls or if they are sincere and taking care of the people and taking care of the country. That's why we need to get rid of the Electoral College. Yes, Medicare for all. We are the only country of the industrial world, the first world, if you want. We are the only country that has a screwed up healthcare system where it is super expensive and people have to make a choice of whether they need to put food on the table or pay for medicine that can keep them alive. That is ridiculous. We need to have Medicare for all. It works in every other country that has health care as a right, as Bernie Sanders would say, and it works for everybody. We need to have the same thing in this country, and it can be had. Trust me on that. It can be had. Medicare for all. And yes, enough said on that topic. Now, this one I think is really important. Of course, all of the things that I've put into this presentation are important, but this one is super important. And the reason why is because this will prevent what we have sitting in the White House right now as a criminal president. That's right. Trump and the Trump regime is a runaway corruption machine. He is a convicted felon and he is running the country like a convicted felon. So we need to change the qualifications for being president. You cannot have a criminal record of any kind, no felonies or misdemeanors. Of course, you guys tell me what you think about that. But in my opinion, you cannot have a criminal record, no felonies and no misdemeanors, period. Each president that's running, each candidate that's running for president has to have at least a bachelor's degree, a college degree, at least. Okay. And we have to have full transparency on whether or not you have a degree. We have to have full transparency for your taxes. That's right. Has Donald Trump ever released his taxes? He hasn't. It's being audited. He had no intentions of ever releasing his taxes, which is the reason why he was brought up on charges because he committed tax fraud. Okay, the man's a crook. So full tax transparency. And yes, no more old ass guys in the White House. Let's do that. No more old, addled, senile presidents, period. Okay? So we have an age limit. You have to have an age limit. You have to be at least 40 years old, and you cannot be older than 65 as you're going into your second term if you are reelected. And yes, each candidate for president needs to have a full physical, and that physical has to be transparent. We need to see whether or not our candidates who are running for president are healthy enough to do the job. Okay. And yes, these are just the things that I've listed. I know there's more that you can think of as to the reason why we need to change the qualification for running for president, and we need to reform that. For me, no more criminals in the White House. Period. If you got a record, if you got a criminal record, You can't run for president. I don't give a damn what anybody says about that. That is a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned. Yes, and this one is a big one. And the reason why I say this is a big one because this is also the reason why we are having a lot of problems with the billionaire class right now. We need to repeal Citizens United. The Supreme Court said that corporations are people. And of course, we'll talk about that later because there's more about, well, there it is right there. And that because they are people, they should be able to give as much money as they possibly can. No, they cannot. Corporations are not people, okay? They need to repeal Citizens United to the $3,500 or whatever it is for each individual. And each individual in this country cannot donate more than $3,500 per person, period. I don't care how wealthy you are, $3,500 for your favorite candidate, and that is it. Okay. And yes, repeal the ruling making corporations a legal person. A corporation that is a legal person can commit fraud, can break the law, and there is nobody to arrest. I mean, if you break the law as an individual, they can arrest you. But when a corporation breaks the law, they can get sued, but they can't be arrested. Get rid of that ruling. A corporation is not a legal person. Again, enough said. Yeah, my favorite part here. Term limits for the Supreme Court. Justice Clarence Thomas has been making bad rulings for well over 40 years. The man should have been put out to pasture years ago. Okay. There should be term limits for the Supreme Court. I kind of want to hear from you in terms of how many terms can each Supreme Court member serve. Okay. And then if I am elected for president, no, not really, because I'm not running for president. But if somebody who is a Democrat or an independent, right, that is running for president and you win, pack the Supreme Court so that we could dilute the power that these conservatives, and I'm putting up air quotes right now because they're not real conservatives. They're a foil for a would-be dictator. That's what they are. Okay. So we need to pack the court, put more people on the court, on the bench. And by the way, the president could do that. He can put as many people on the court as he wants, right? So pack the court so that we could dilute these idiots' power. Justice Roberts is probably the worst Chief Justice I have ever seen in my 67 plus years of life. He's not even that good of a lawyer. Okay. He is horrible. These people who call themselves conservative are horrible. They've made some really bad decisions and they know it. That's why they're really grappling with what they're trying to do with Trump right now because he's a runaway criminal freight train right now. We need to back the court. Whoever wins the White House, if you're a Democrat or an independent, dilute these dumbasses' power. That's where I'm cursing because I'm pissed. And yes, this one is so super important. Repeal that total immunity ruling for the presidency. You have seen what has happened when you give total immunity to a president to do whatever he or she wants with no accountability. That is exactly what we have right now. Trump in his Homeland Security Department, the State Department, the uh, Defense Department are all run by incompetent criminal idiots who are basically going around and doing whatever they want to enrich themselves and terrorize the American people. It's not even about immigrants anymore. It's just terrorizing the American people who are opposed to this crap. And the Supreme Court gave Trump immunity to do whatever he wants. And it has turned into a complete disaster. Our country, the United States of America, is no longer a superpower. And it's no longer a superpower for this specific reason. We have turned the presidency into a mob boss, which is exactly what Trump is. So we need to get rid of it, repeal it. And yes, oh, yes, you billionaires are not exempt from my wrath. There must be a national wealth tax on all billionaires. If you are a billionaire, you should have a wealth tax. These people are not paying their fair share and they want more. They're so greedy, so disgustingly greedy. And Trump keeps giving them more. And the more he gives them, the more they want. The billionaires' free ride has got to be over. It's over. A national wealth tax on billionaires will take care of that. We need these people and the corporations to start paying their fair share. Now, this one is interesting because I think it's important for all of you to understand what's going on here. Republicans keep saying that Social Security needs to be fixed. That's why they keep saying that the Social Security is running out of money. So, what is their fix? To make sure you never retire. They want to move the full retirement age to age 72. Yes, there is no doubt that Americans are living longer for those who are taking care of themselves with their health. But that's not the reason why they want to move the retirement age to 72, is that they don't want to pay Social Security out to anybody. And they don't want billionaires, the rich and the powerful, to pay Social Security above $176,000 a year. If I made $176,000 a year plus anything that I made in terms of income above $176,000, I don't have to pay Social Security on at all. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world right now. Tesla just gave him $1 trillion pay package. He pays Social Security tax on $176,000. All the rest of that money that he has earned, up to that $1 trillion plus that he's earning right now, he doesn't pay Social Security tax on it at all. Not 1 cent. Think about that. The majority of Americans are never even going to see $176,000 a year. So they're the ones paying all the Social Security tax. And now the Republican Party, that's why you have to stop voting for them, are telling you, after you've paid your whole adult life, the Social Security tax, that they're telling you now you can't retire until age 72. Meanwhile, Elon Musk, that drug addict, right, doesn't pay hardly any Social Security tax at all, nor do the rest of these billionaires that call the United States of America home. All of that needs to change. All income should be subject to Social Security tax and no limit up to 100%. And that also includes capital gains. That's right. A lot of these billionaires, right, get paid through capital gains, and they don't even get paid through that. They take out loans on their capital gains and use the tax system to pay no tax at all. If you can imagine that, that's exactly what they do. We need to change the tax code so that everybody pays their fair share. Everybody. Could you imagine how much better this country would be if everybody paid their fair share? Again, I want to hear from you. Tell me what you think about this platform. Yes, and by the way, this used to be a main talking point of the Republican Party. We need to reduce the national debt. We need to reduce the national debt. We need to cut spending. But they never say anything about increasing taxes on the people who are not paying their fair share. I agree with them. We do need to reduce the national debt. Okay. We need to come up with common sense spending that takes care of the people, not big business. We need to end corporate welfare. The Republican Party always talking about welfare. We're sick and tired of giving people money that they don't work for. Well, guess what? These corporations get welfare too. They haven't earned it. We cut their taxes. They don't hire people. They would rather replace all of us with artificial intelligence, AI. Okay? Stop giving welfare to corporate America. And we absolutely need lobby reform. I should have just as much equal access to Congress, my senators, and my president as anybody else. And it is, by the way, various lobbies that are writing the laws that take advantage of you and me. Do you understand? Get rid of corporate welfare. We need to reduce the national debt. We need to have common sense spending that takes care of people, you and me, not big business. This is a huge one. I believe in this. What do you think? And I do believe this is my final piece to my platform. And this is a big one. I taught public school for a little while. After I taught college, I went to go teach public school. And yes, we would have these gun drills all the time. And every time we had these drills, it would scare the kids. I'm not lying to you, it would scare the kids. We need gun reform. And by the way, I'm here to let you know that the American people, those who own guns, are in favor of gun reform. The Republican Party, those who are senators and congressmen and women, and those who are state senators and those who are city council members, all of these Republicans, right, that are in favor of the Second Amendment, guess what? The American people are in favor of the Second Amendment as well. We are. But we are getting sick and tired of these mass shootings where they're going into schools and various other crowded places or just randomly and killing people. And who are they killing people with? This dang on assault weapon. We didn't have a whole lot of these mass shootings when we had the assault weapon ban, right? We did not. But then when the assault weapon ban was lifted, then we started having all of these mass shootings. We need common sense, gun reform. Somebody who is schizophrenic should not own a gun. Somebody who is depressed, clinically depressed, probably should not own a gun. We should not have bump stocks. We should not, absolutely not have access to an assault weapon. Assault weapons are weapons of war. Why does an everyday American need to have an assault weapon unless he is going to go out and kill tens of hundreds, 10, 100, 200, 300 people? Okay? We need common sense, gun reform, and definitely an assault weapon ban. So, this is my platform. Of course, there's more to come later. And yes, I approve this message. Thank you for joining me. From where I sit, I am your host and running for president, Dr. C, but not really. I just want to get these issues out, and I want to get your comments and your viewpoint on what is important to you in the presidential election coming up in 2028. Granted that there is an election, you need to make sure that you are registered. You need to make sure that you weren't kicked off the rolls in your state. You need to make sure that you are protected, and you need to get yourself ready to vote in 2026, the midterms elections. And I'm here to let you guys know Trump and his sycophants, his band of criminals, are trying to rig the election so that Democrats cannot take control of the House and the Senate to reel in this criminal regime run by Donald Trump, the addled president of the United States. Thank you for joining me this afternoon, and I want to see what you have to say. Put your comments in the comment sections, and if you haven't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe to the channel. You guys have a great day. Dr. C out.
Be strong.